Hello, thank you for joining me again. It's Kate, and I am building yet another quick build here on The Sims. Quickie, if you will, ha ha ha. And it's this one really shows that I was in a hurry because it not only does it not have as much detail or furnishing decoration in it, but there are just some pieces to the exterior that are missing that I didn't even notice until I was editing this video. But like trims around the building and trims around the roofs and where the roof is clipping and things like that, things that I would like to make perfect are not perfect, but that's kind of part of this exercise for me. Is I don't have time in life to be spending loads and loads of time on this right now, but I enjoy it, so I'm doing it for the enjoyment of it and not for the perfection of it. So I hope you can appreciate that with me, and if not, then you don't. That's fine. I envisioned this is actually the lot in Copperdale where the high school principal lives. Copperdale came with high school years, and this is the lot that I think is Molly is her daughter, and she's kind of like a rebel daughter, and they live in this really pretentious looking home. I think actual YouTube creators built all of the buildings, and whoever did this one did a really awesome job because I think it really showcases the vanilla, I don't know, like pretty but lack of personality that the principal has. The principal is kind of like this, I need everything to be perfect and look perfect, and I don't have an opinion myself of what that is. And I think that the builder, whoever built this, did an excellent job capturing that because it really is a very vanilla brick estate home. And I wanted it to have the same vibes, but be a little more updated than it was. This was a very traditional build, and I'm still going for a very like traditional feeling, but this is more transitional when you say I get done with it. I took a long time to figure out which windows to use, but I knew I wanted there to be stone. I knew I wanted it to look stately, and I knew I wanted it to look pretentious in a way that, when you find yourself driving through one of those fancy neighborhoods in your city that the top cream of the crop people live in, but this is one of those people that isn't necessarily architectural or design oriented. They just picked out a picture out of a book, and the architect said, yeah, I can do that, and so they just kind of went for something that looks lavish without it having a whole lot of personality, which I think is exactly what this build had before. And then I tried to capture it again, but in a more contemporary or transitional way, if you will. I ended up using the horse ranch windows and some of the horse ranch doors. I kept in one of the cats and dogs doors, I think, for the front door, just because that archway that I was using for the front entry is also cats and dogs, and they line up exactly perfectly, and nothing else lines up with that, and I thought that it was the right look. So I really enjoy the horse ranch windows because I think that they have that transitional vibe. They're traditional, but they're also kind of long and skinny, and they've got black muttons, and it just gives it this exact vibe that I was going through, which is an American home that is nice just for the sake of being nice. These people don't necessarily care about the history of architecture or anything. They're not like, oh, mid-century modern is my jam. They're not necessarily like that, but they do want to flex a little bit. I actually think I'm going to call this the American Flex Home on my YouTube channel. And I really enjoy calling it that. Love the pretension that's involved, and it's capturing. My goal is to capture the same vibes of the original house. So I've gotten the exterior mostly mapped out at this time, and I have been working on the floor plan. I wanted kind of the grand foyer entryway. Again, just, luxury for the sake of having luxury, right? Like not a lot of functional space. And then this is actually also why the building suffers, because I did not spend hours and hours and hours on this. This was another 2 hours and I think 41 minutes of recording. So just one evening sitting down after I get my kids to bed, and I just want to build. I just want to decompress the day by building something. That's what The Sims is great for, is that instant gratification that you can get from making, if you can't get promoted in real life, or your job pissed you off in real life, you can get promoted, or you can become the boss in The Sims in one night. And that's also achieved in building, I want the perfect home. I want to let my creativity just go nuts, and that's something that you can do in The Sims very quickly. So, whereas really, if you wanted to do a quick renovation in real life of, let's say, your kitchen, it's probably going to cost you $30,000 and weeks of your time. So, really enjoy trying to get out these builds, but I have been trying to do going on smaller lots in order to keep myself from building really big, because the bigger I build, the more furnishing that it needs, and I have really not furnished this place. This is like an under-furnished place, if you ask me. I do put some detail in, but in general, I would like to put in lots and lots of detail. I always like to channel my inner Jessica Pye. You should totally be watching her YouTube channel if you're not. She is so detailed with her clutter and her furnishings. And I so enjoy watching her work, or keeping her on in the background while I work, or while I study, or while I fold clothes, whatever. And I always try to channel that amount of detail. But then for like a large build, I like to try to trust the process, which I feel like is the Kate Emerald way to go about things. And so just keep pushing and pulling and adding windows and moving things around and adjusting until you've got something that you like. So that was the goal here. But as I said, I would call this minimally furnished or under furnished, but very big home, really nice big home for fancy hoity-toity family. I built the chateau previously a few weeks ago, and that was a home that was fancy that I would not play in, but it was good to have in the world, and it was one of those, I need to get this build out of my system. This one, I actually would play in this one. I think that this is a fancy home that I would actually see myself playing in with some Sims, and I can see, all the high school drama happening in here with, parents wanting the perfect, outcomes for their children, but the children are rebellious or whatever. So I quite enjoy that about the buildings in The Sims. You can really make the building kind of reflect the vibes that you're going for. And in this case, this is a parent who, they're probably born with some privilege, but then they also had the privilege of, using that to get a better job, and they have this really fancy house, and they just want their lives to look and appear perfect. But of course, then their child wants to go out there and get suspended, or gets caught smoking in the backyard, or they're in the backyard. That's kind of a strange place to get caught. But anyways, I feel like that's a very relatable case, and wanted this to reflect that. So there's a lot of neutral colors. Again, didn't want a lot of personality in here. I just wanted this to look like somebody who wants everything to look perfect, but not to, they don't want to lean too far one way or another, because if they show their opinion, it should be a politician and like some kind of public figure should live in this house. Maybe, I'm getting inspired to actually put that in here. But in the meantime, I still have the principal and her family from high school years living in this house. I haven't changed the Sims that are in here. But I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed the neutralness, if you will. And anyways, I'm just doing all the quick furnishing, and I hope that you enjoy this. I definitely did, but I also, as I look at it, I cringe a little bit, because I would have liked to do so much more detail, but time was of the essence. So thank you for joining me, and I hope you'll join me again soon. Bye.